Hey there. Welcome back. Let me ask you something. What leaves the deepest mark on a person? It's rarely the words they never heard. It's the silence they never expected. They thought you'd always be there, that no matter how far they pushed, you'd pull harder to prove your place in their life. They saw your love as a given, something they could walk away from and return to whenever it suited them. So when they left, they expected you to chase, to plead, to fall apart first. What they never saw coming was your silence. Because silence isn't passive. It's not weakness, it's power. When you stop explaining, stop defending, stop fighting to be understood, you take back your energy. And in doing so, you take back your power. Without raising your voice or lifting a finger. They anticipated anger, maybe even heartbreak. But silence, that leaves them alone, with the one thing they can't run from, their own reflection. At first, they feel relief. They convince themselves you just need time, that soon you'll come back, with one more apology, one more open door. But your silence isn't a tactic. It's a turning point. The moment you stopped talking was the moment their ego started to shrink. Because silence doesn't feed the ego, it starves it. And in that emptiness, truth begins to surface. Maybe you weren't the fragile one. Maybe they were never the one doing the choosing. Maybe, just maybe, they lost someone who would have stood beside them for a lifetime. They thought walking away broke you. But it's your silence that's breaking them now. Quietly, slowly, deeply. Silence plants doubt, and doubt is the slowest poison there is. They start checking in, quietly, scrolling your social media, rereading old messages, replaying old memories. Not because they miss the drama, but because now they're wondering if they ever really knew who you were. See, they didn't want you to move on. They wanted you to orbit. Because as long as you're chasing, they don't have to feel the weight of what they've lost. But now, you're not chasing. You're healing. You're growing. And maybe even replacing. Not just them, but the part of you that settled for less. This isn't about games. This isn't about revenge. This is about peace. About reclaiming your voice by choosing not to use it. Sometimes the strongest thing you can say is nothing at all. In this video, we're going to explore why silence speaks louder than any argument ever could. We'll unpack the unseen stages the other person goes through, and more importantly, how silence helps rebuild your self-worth from the inside out. If you've ever wondered whether your silence is making a difference, you'll understand, by the end of this video, why it may be the most powerful response you'll ever give. Let's begin. What you choose not to say. The Roman philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings." And there's truth in that, because sometimes the most powerful response is the one you never give out loud. Your silence speaks in ways words never could. It teaches a lesson the ego is never prepared for, that you're no longer suffering for someone who was never willing to suffer for you. Every time they check their phone and find nothing, it stings. Every time they scroll through your profile looking for sadness or breadcrumbs and find peace instead, it unsettles them. Every time they try to provoke a reaction and you give them stillness, it disrupts their sense of control. Because now, the question in their mind isn't, "Are you hurting?" It's, "Did you ever really need them at all?" That's the quiet power of silence. It forces them to sit with uncertainty, to fill in the blanks, and the human mind, when left in silence, often imagines the worst. Maybe you're healing, maybe you're growing, maybe you're already with someone who sees your value clearly. The truth, it doesn't even matter. What matters is that they're slowly realizing the person they thought would always be there is no longer waiting. They thought they broke you, But your silence is showing them they only broke the version of you that tolerated being disrespected. That version no longer exists because silence shifts the dynamic. Without drama, without arguments, without a single word. You're no longer chasing. You're no longer explaining. You're simply gone. So say it to yourself right now. My silence is my strength. Because when you learn how to walk away without resentment, without the need to be understood, without the need to fight, that's when your energy becomes untouchable. And that's when they realize they lost someone they never truly deserved. The hidden stages. They go through what most people don't realize is silence doesn't hit all at once. It breaks down the ego slowly, stage by stage, in ways they rarely admit out loud. Stage 1, relief. At first, they convince themselves you're just giving them space, that this silence is a tactic, that soon you'll come back with one more explanation, one more olive branch. Their ego whispers, they always come back. They feel a false sense of control, believing your silence is just a pause, not the final decision. Stage 2, curiosity. Days pass, then weeks, and the message they were waiting for never comes. That's when the checking begins. They watch your stories, scroll your posts, look for signs of heartbreak or struggle. But instead of pain, they find peace. Instead of indirect messages, they find nothing at all. And that silence? It starts to echo. Because now, the unknown is louder than anything you could have said. And the human mind hates not knowing. Stage 3, frustration. They might try to stir the waters, liking old pictures, posting stories they hope you'll see, maybe even showing off a new upgrade, hoping to get under your skin. But when you stay grounded, when you stay still, when you refuse to take the bait, they start to realize something unsettling. This time, they're the one feeling powerless. Stage 4, fear. Fear that you're not just being silent, you're really done. Fear that someone else is holding your attention now. Fear that they were never as needed as they once believed. Because your silence isn't punishment, it's truth. And the truth is, you've outgrown the need to explain your worth to someone who couldn't recognize it when it mattered. Let this be a reminder. Silence isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's clarity. It's growth. And in a world full of noise, the one who can remain still often speaks the loudest. Everything they once took for granted starts to quietly unravel. The longer time passes without a word from you, the more their mind fills in the gaps. And often, those stories hurt more than any truth could. They might have believed your silence was weakness, but now, it's making them wonder if they were the weak ones all along. Because why would someone who truly cared let go so easily? And then, the last stage arrives. Regret. Every moment they overlooked, every time you forgave, every silent tear shed behind closed doors, those memories play on repeat. Like a film they can't pause or rewind. When you're no longer there to remind them, those moments hit even harder. They won't tell anyone just how much your silence is breaking them. Their pride keeps the cracks hidden. On the outside, they'll act unbothered, but inside, they're falling apart. And as your silence continues, that regret only grows heavier, until eventually, it breaks through. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "If you wish to be strong, learn to enjoy being misunderstood." That's exactly what your silence does. It lets them misunderstand your strength while you quietly rebuild yourself away from their eyes. Right now, drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose silence because I choose myself. Remember, the person who stays silent holds all the power. How your silence is reprogramming their mind. Your silence is more than just quiet. It's reshaping how they see you. When someone walks away, they expect your pain to revolve around them. They expect proof that they mattered. What they never expect is for you to simply disappear, without a fight, without a word. The moment you go silent, the story they told themselves about you begins to fall apart. Each second without a message forces their mind to rewrite who you really are. At first, they saw you as someone who would always wait, someone they could lose without ever really losing. But silence strips away that illusion of control. Every time they check their phone and find nothing, their mind fills in the blanks. Maybe you weren't as weak as they thought. Maybe you weren't chasing them at all. You were choosing them. And now, with you gone, they start to question if they ever really had you at all. The human mind can't bear unanswered questions. Did they ever really need you? Were they special, or just another chapter in your story? The more silence you give, the louder those questions become. And what breaks them most isn't the silence itself. It's the fact they may never know the answers. That doubt rewires how they see themselves and how they think you saw them. They once believed they were the prize. Now your silence makes them wonder if they were just tolerated. What they don't realize is that your silence isn't punishment. It's a reflection. You're not trying to hurt them. You're simply showing them what life feels like without your energy feeding their ego. The longer your silence lasts, the more valuable your absence becomes. Every time they revisit old conversations or scroll through photos of what was, they're quietly convincing themselves they lost something they may never find again. The philosopher Seneca said, "The greatest revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Your silence proves this. You are no longer the person they could manipulate. You no longer need closure, explanations, or validation. You are becoming the person they always feared you could be, someone who can walk away without looking back. What makes silence so powerful is that it traps them in their own mind. They can't argue with silence. They can't block it out. They can't manipulate it. Every moment you stay silent rewires their mind to see you as the one with power. They were just too blinded by their own ego to realize it. By the time they finally break and reach out, you'll already be a version of yourself they will never have access to again. Drop this affirmation in the comments right now. My silence teaches them what my words never could. How to keep your silence powerful. The hardest part about silence isn't starting it, it's holding on to it when every part of you wants to explain, to justify, to speak. The mind craves closure. The ego craves validation. But the moment you break your silence just to prove something, you give away the power you've been quietly building back to the very person who made you feel powerless. True silence isn't just about what you don't say. It's about who you are becoming in the quiet moments when you say nothing at all. Silence only holds power when it's paired with growth. This is your season to rebuild, to heal, to rediscover the version of yourself that existed before anyone made you doubt your worth. Start small. Start with movement, work out. Start with reflection, journal. Start with self-love. Reconnect with your dreams and your truth. Every morning you choose self-discipline over self-pity. You're sending a silent message. I am not coming back. Every part of yourself you heal, every strength you reclaim, is proof that their absence is no longer a weakness. It's your greatest opportunity. Don't just disappear. Transformation. The most powerful silence is the one that leaves them wondering if they ever truly knew you at all. Let them witness your glow, not through words, but through your presence. Don't block them. Don't unfollow. Let them watch from a distance as you quietly become the person they never imagined you could be without them. What will break them isn't your silence itself. It's seeing the life you're building within it. The Stoic philosopher Zeno said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Your silence teaches a lesson louder than any explanation ever could. You're no longer seeking validation from someone who failed to see your value when they had you. Every second you stay silent rewires their mind to realize you were the prize all along. But the key is to stay focused on your own growth. Silence loses its strength when it's used to punish. It becomes undeniable power only when it's used to pour your energy back into yourself. They won't regret losing you because you're silent. They'll regret it because the person you're becoming won't glance back. This isn't about making them miss you. It's about making yourself so whole that their regret becomes completely irrelevant. That's the version of you they never wanted to meet, and the one they will never have access to again. When will, they break. They'll break the moment they realize you're no longer waiting. Not simply when they see your silence, but when they understand it's not a reaction. It's a decision. It won't happen in a week or a month. It will happen when the version of you who begged, cried, and fought for them fades into a memory they can't reach anymore. At first, they'll convince themselves it's a game, a punishment you're using to get back at them. But silence doesn't break people instantly. It breaks them slowly, quietly, as reality replaces their ego-driven assumptions. They'll scroll your old messages late at night, looking for the person who once begged to be heard. They'll replay the moments you gave them endless chances, and wonder how you suddenly stopped. They'll break when they realize you're not angry, not bitter, not trying to make them jealous or chase them back. You're simply gone. Nothing haunts the human mind more than someone who could have had everything, but chose to give them nothing. Some will break in weeks, others in months. The timing doesn't matter, because the longer it takes, the heavier the regret will be. The more they delay reaching out, the more they convince themselves you're truly moving on. And when they finally do break, when they reach out, what will destroy them the most isn't your silence. It's the version of you they reach out to. The one who no longer needs their apology, no longer waits for closure, and has realized that losing them was the best thing that ever happened. They'll hope to get back the old you, the one who answered the first call. But what they'll never understand is, your silence didn't just hurt them, it rebuilt you. The most powerful response is no response at all, not to hurt, but because the person they broke no longer exists. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." Your silence isn't revenge, it's evolution. They'll break when they realize you're not holding back words, you're holding back access. And no amount of regret will ever unlock the door they already closed on themselves. Your silence is protection. Every second you hold it, you break the cycle of proving your worth to someone who never truly valued it. Let them wonder. Let them regret. Let them feel your absence. Because your silence is the loudest message you'll ever send. If you're choosing your self-worth over chasing someone who never valued you, drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose myself. And if you're ready to turn your silence into power, subscribe. Because this is just the beginning of your glow-up journey.